Hey, little champs. Welcome to Peaceful Whisper. In a quiet village wrapped in rice fields and kissed by the warm breeze of the evening, there stood an old wooden pavilion. Its tall roof was carved with vines and birds, and inside, the floor creaked with every memory it held. The villagers called it the Pendopo, and on certain nights, the light of the moon would slip through the slats in the roof and turn the whole place into a dream. Here, stories came to life. Not stories from books or voices, but from shadows. Graceful, dancing shadows that flickered on a soft white screen. These were the wayang kulit, shadow puppets cut from buffalo hide, carefully painted, and brought to life by the gentle hands of the dalang, the old puppet master who sat behind the screen with a lamp and a steady voice. Night after night, children gathered on woven mats. They sat beside their sleepy parents, some holding cups of warm tea, others cuddled in shawls. Grandmothers hummed softly, and even the cats lay still as if listening too. Behind the screen, the stories began. Tales of heroes and clever princesses, tricksters and talking animals, each one a shadow dance upon the screen. But among all the puppets that hung neatly on the puppet rack, rows and rows of carved arms and painted faces, there was one puppet who had never danced. His name was Seno. Seno was a quiet puppet, not because he lacked color or charm, but because he was gentle. So gentle that the puppet master always passed him by. This one, the Dalang would say with a kind smile, is too soft for tonight's tale. He is meant for something special. Seno heard these words many times, and though he never complained, a small wish began to grow inside his wooden heart. He dreamed, though no one knew it. While the other puppets clattered and whispered about the adventures they'd performed, Seno simply listened. He listened to the wind at night, the hush of the bamboo leaves and the murmur of sleepy crickets. He imagined walking beneath the stars, not as a shadow, but as himself, a real being with steps and breath and voice. Then, one night, under the silver breath of a full moon, something wonderful happened. The Pendopo was silent. The villagers had all gone home, their lanterns dimmed. The fireflies had come out to float in slow circles near the trees. The shadow puppets hung peacefully in their places, but Seno, ever still, felt something stir inside him. The moonlight touched his painted edge. And then, creak. A tiny sound like the sigh of a door. Seno blinked. He looked down. His feet, yes, his very own feet, rested lightly on the bamboo floor. He took a breath, or something close to it, and slowly stepped forward. The puppets beside him remained still, dreaming their silent dreams, but Seno, he was awake. He looked around the Pendopo, his world of shadows now full of soft moonlight. The woven mats, the screen, the lamp, all sleeping, just as they should be. He stepped outside. The night greeted him with quiet grace. The village was hushed. Homes rested behind wooden shutters. The rice fields glimmered faintly, water catching the moonlight. The breeze nudged the wind chimes hanging from porches, and the smell of clove and sweetgrass lingered in the air. Seno walked, slowly, carefully, marveling at the sound of his own footsteps. As he passed the large banyan tree at the edge of the village, a rustle came from its branches. An owl stirred, soft-feathered and round-eyed, blinking down at him. "Who walks beneath the moon with feet that should not be?" she asked, her voice as quiet as falling petals. I think I do," said Seno. "My name is Seno. I'm a puppet, but not tonight." The owl tilted her head. "A rare thing," she said. "The moon must have seen something in you." She fluttered down to a low branch and looked at him with a knowing gaze. Perhaps you're meant to hear a story tonight, when only the stars remember. And so Seno sat beneath the tree, and the owl told him a story, not one of battles or glory, but of a fisherman who whispered his dreams to the sea, and how the sea listened quietly, until one day, the tide brought him what he never asked for but always needed. When the tale ended, the owl blinked slowly. Stories, she said, are gifts. Some are loud, some are soft. The best ones come when you least expect them. Seno bowed his head. Thank you, he said, his voice like morning mist. He rose again and continued down the path, the night wide and waiting. In a clearing just beyond the tamarind trees, the grass rustled again. This time, a small tiger cub stepped out, eyes bright, fur striped like sunlight and shadow. You don't smell like anything I've met before, the cub said. I'm made of hide and paint, Seno replied, but tonight I think I'm real. The cub grinned, his teeth small and harmless. Wanna run? Run? Seno asked, tilting his head. It's like dancing, the cub said, but wilder. And so Seno ran. He ran with the tiger cub through soft grass and over old stones. The earth welcomed him, the stars smiled gently, and even the wind seemed to make room for his joy. His joints clicked and swayed, and for the first time he felt something like laughter rise inside him. Not noise, but joy. When they paused beneath a tree, both catching their breath, the cub looked up at him and said, You're braver than you look. I was afraid I didn't belong in any story, Seno whispered. But you do, the cub replied. Maybe even your own. As the cub curled up to sleep, Seno stood still for a moment, watching him rest. Then he turned toward home, feeling different. Not bigger or louder, but fuller, like a cup that had finally been filled. As he walked, golden flickers appeared around him. Fireflies, slow and dreamy, dancing through the air. One landed softly on his shoulder. You're glowing, the firefly said, her voice like a twinkle. Seno looked down. I'm just a puppet. Not tonight, she said gently. Tonight you're a story. The firefly's light warmed his wooden chest. Will I remember this? Seno asked. You will, she said, as long as you believe it mattered. And with that, the firefly rose and joined her sisters, lighting a soft path through the trees. Seno followed the glow all the way back to the pendopo. The sky was turning pale now, just the faintest blush of morning on the horizon. Inside the pavilion, the mat still lay folded. The puppets hung in their quiet rows. Seno climbed back into his place without a sound, and as the first bird began to sing, he let his arms rest and his eyes close. But deep inside, the feeling remained, like a lantern lit just behind his heart. When the Dalang arrived that morning, he walked slowly to the puppet rack. He rubbed his tired eyes and paused in front of Seno. You look different, he whispered, his fingers brushing the puppet's edge, as if you've seen something. He stared for a moment longer, then chuckled softly. Perhaps it's time your story was told. And that night, under another silver moon, the people gathered once again. The lanterns swayed, the children waited. And when the shadows began to dance behind the screen, there, quietly, gently, but with grace, was Seno, the sleepy shadow puppet who had dreamed, and whose dream became a story. Good night, little dreamer. Let your story unfold in quiet light. You never know what dreams the moon might wake.